Yes, that's right. Lawyer Tyrone Blackburn is going to authorities, asking and encouraging state and federal prosecutors to start a criminal investigation into T.I. and Tamika.
Atlanta wasn't supposed to wake up like this. At 3 a.m., the timelines flipped from quiet to chaos as whispers turned into alarms. Unconfirmed reports say King Harris's condition has taken a frightening turn in the ICU, and the family is bracing for the worst. Nurses, sirens, footsteps. Everyone talking at once. No one saying anything official. Outside, cameras crowd the glass. Inside, hearts sink. Friends text friends. Relatives rush in. And fans are shocked as scattered posts claim doctors are fighting minute by minute. Emotions ran high.
From the edge.
Open up the door to my bedroom, as you shouldn't have to either. Open up the door to my bedroom for everybody to come in, chime in, and make their opinions about what we do and don't do or should or shouldn't do. But I will say this, whatever we ever have done.
High, and the family was left divided over what to share and what to keep private. A trembling voice in the hallway. Just pray. And then a door shuts. That's all anyone hears. What happened inside that room? Some say there was a sudden change overnight. Others claim security tightened out of nowhere. None of this is confirmed, but the internet is buzzing. Was this a medical complication? A misunderstanding? Or something no one is ready to name? Tiny reportedly breaks down. Ty paces like a caged storm, and every second feels like an hour. As hashtags surge and rumors multiply, one line cuts through the noise. Family pleads for a miracle. Tonight we piece together what's being said, and what's still a mystery. The hospital halls were heavy with silence, the kind that swallows every sound and turns footsteps into echoes that feel louder than screams. Reports said King Harris's fragile body was hooked up to machines, each beep of the monitor striking fear into his parents' hearts. Outside the glass doors, Ty stood motionless for a moment, his jaw tight, his fists clenched, as if holding back an ocean of rage. Tiny sat slumped against the wall, tears staining her face, whispering prayers under her breath. Family members hovered nearby, torn between comforting her and trying to get answers from the doctors who rushed in and out without meeting anyone's eyes. It was chaos disguised as order, a storm brewing beneath fluorescent lights. It already leaked online, sending fans into a frenzy. Some claimed this wasn't just about a medical
family for good.
Him being arrested isn't really like the shocker. It's him coming out and his, I guess, reaction to it, right? Because everybody's saying, King, you grew up privileged, bro. Why are you going down this path? Now he's talking about F the police, F12. So, you know, he just
scare. Others swore the marks on King's body told a darker story. The internet burned with speculation while the family was trapped inside a nightmare. Ty's voice cracked as he muttered to a cousin, "He's just a boy, man. He's just a boy." But the cousin had no words, only silence. Because how do you comfort a father who feels powerless against shadows he cannot see? Tiny's breakdown
Walk off, have some time to himself, sit down, soak it up, and come up with what he
earlier in the hallway had already gone viral. A nurse had tried to hold her up, but grief makes people heavier than their bodies. The scream she let out was raw, the kind of sound that shatters more than just eardrums. When that clip hit social media, fans were shocked. Hashtags surged within minutes, prayers pouring in from strangers around the world. Yet at the same time, darker voices began to spread their own theories. Some said this was payback for Ty's past. Others whispered, it was never about King, but about silencing the family.
You know what I'm saying? And the thing about reality, it's all real, it's all natural, but some things are, you know what I'm saying, some things are needed for the
family altogether. Inside the ICU, tension thickened. One nurse, shaking, whispered to another, "This doesn't look like a simple fight injury. The cuts, they're too exact." The other nurse glanced nervously at the security camera above, then hushed her quickly. "Don't talk here," she muttered, eyes darting around like the walls themselves were listening. Interview 2 hours 48-302 outside. Friends of the family arrived one by one. A close friend of Ty's confronted the hospital staff in the lobby, demanding clarity. "Why aren't y'all saying anything? We know something's wrong. The world knows." but the staff only repeated that King was in critical condition. Nothing more. The lack of answers fanned the flames of suspicion. As night deepened, rumors grew. An alleged audio clip began circulating online. A distorted voice, said to be a prison guard, whispered chilling words. "The order came from above. We just cleared the way." Nobody knew if the clip was real or fabricated, but it was enough to send the internet spiraling. Fans pointed fingers in every direction. Gangs, industry rivals, even political figures. The comment sections turned into battlegrounds where accusations flew faster than facts. Back inside the hospital, Ty broke his silence in front of cameras stationed at the entrance. His voice shook with both fury and desperation. "My son is being targeted like he's an enemy. He's just a kid. He don't deserve this." Some fans rallied behind him instantly, posting messages of support. Others coldly dismissed his plea, writing that this was karma. The division online mirrored the division within the hospital walls, where family members began blaming each other. Tiny's relatives accused Ty of attracting curses from his past, and Ty snapped back, his anger spilling into the hallways. "This ain't karma," he roared. "This is murder." Tiny, exhausted and trembling, tried to calm the storm, but her own grief made her voice break. "Please stop fighting. It's our son in there. He needs us." But the damage was already done. The shouting had been caught on phones, leaked in seconds, and replayed endlessly across social media, where it became another layer in a story spiraling out of control. Interview 3/28/333. Through all of this, King lay motionless, machines doing the work his body struggled to manage. Doctors whispered terms like organ failure, phrases no parent should ever have to hear. Nurses rushed with emergency trays, each movement desperate. Yet the beeping from the monitors grew more erratic. Every second felt like an eternity for the family waiting outside, caught between hope and dread. When rumors of a hospital CCTV leak surfaced, panic spread even further. The alleged clip showed hooded figures slipping into King's room under cover of night. One crouched near his bed while another guarded the door. The video cut before showing what they did, but its mere existence sparked outrage. If true, it meant King wasn't even safe inside the walls meant to protect him. If fake, it showed how far people would go to stir fear. Either way, the effect was the same. The internet erupted. Protests outside the hospital swelled, and the family's private hell was broadcast worldwide. Fans lit candles in the streets, chanting "Protect King," their voices rising into the cold night air. Some prayed quietly, while others screamed for justice. Riot police lined the hospital entrances. Helicopters circled above, and Atlanta transformed into a city on edge. The hospital no longer looked like a sanctuary. It looked like a fortress under siege. Interview 4/07/4/18. Inside, T sat with his head in his hands, his composure slipping further with every passing hour. He muttered again and again, "Why my boy? Why my boy?" While Tiny clung to a photo of King as a child, tears smudging the edges. Relatives tried to comfort them, but comfort felt meaningless in the face of machines keeping their son alive. And then came the whisper that broke them further. A doctor, weary and somber, told the family behind closed doors, "If we don't see improvement soon, we may need to discuss letting him go." That sentence shattered the room. Tiny screamed so loud nurses rushed to her side, while Ty punched the wall, leaving his knuckles raw. Their agony wasn't private for long. Within hours, an alleged recording of that breakdown leaked online, replayed millions of times. Fans cried with them, critics mocked them, and once again their pain became the world's entertainment. As the night dragged on, another rumor surfaced. Alleged toxic substances were found in King's blood. Substances not linked to his prescribed medication or the jailhouse attack. Whispers of poisoning spread like wildfire. Hackers claimed to have stolen files, declaring, "They're not saving him, they're finishing him." Whether true or not, those words spread panic. Fans demanded answers. Who could sneak something so deadly into a hospital IV line? And why? Inside the hospital, security tripled. Guards checked every visitor, every nurse, every tray of medication. Yet even under the tightest watch, suspicion hung heavy. One nurse confessed anonymously to a journalist that the ventilator had mysteriously shut off for several seconds earlier that night. The footage of that exact moment, she claimed, had been erased from hospital records. Coincidence or cover-up? Nobody knew, but whispers turned into headlines, and headlines turned into fire online. The storm surrounding King Harris was no longer just about his fight for survival. It had become a war of narratives, each twist darker than the last, each leak more sinister, and every moment dragging his family deeper into despair. Outside, chants for justice grew louder. Inside, the beeping of machines grew weaker. And through it all, one chilling reality lingered in every corner of Grady Memorial. King Harris' life was hanging by a single, fragile thread. The hours dragged on like days, and inside Grady Memorial, every tick of the clock felt like another blow to the Harris family. The once bustling hospital hallways turned into a battlefield of whispers, with nurses exchanging nervous glances, and doctors speaking in clipped tones they refused to explain. Rumors outside had already outpaced reality, and by now, the internet was treating every leak as gospel. Pray for King trended across platforms, while darker hashtags like ICU breach and Justice for King began spreading like wildfire. Fans didn't just want updates, they demanded answers, and the weight of their outrage pressed against the hospital walls. Ty, usually known for his sharp words and unshakable presence, looked like a shadow of himself. Pacing the length of the ICU corridor, his voice cracked as he muttered to anyone who would listen, "My son ain't no threat, man. He's just a kid. Why they doing this to him?" Tiny, meanwhile, sat in a chair pressed against the wall, her head buried in her hands, refusing to leave the spot outside her son's room. Family members took turns holding her, but nothing seemed to reach her. One moment, she whispered prayers so softly they barely carried past her lips. The next, she broke into sobs so raw that nurses paused in their tracks, their own eyes watering. Then came the clip that shook the internet to its core. A grainy video, allegedly from inside the hospital, began circulating. Two hooded figures appeared in the footage, one crouching near King's bed, the other at the door. Though the clip cut off before showing more, the implications were terrifying. Fans flooded timelines with theories. Some said it was proof of sabotage. Others insisted the footage was staged to spark chaos. Either way, the narrative spun out of control. Outside the hospital, crowds doubled in size, chanting "Protect King" as riot police tried to keep the peace. Helicopters thundered overhead, their searchlights sweeping across the restless crowd. In the middle of this storm, Ty decided to face the cameras again. His eyes were bloodshot, his fists trembling as he gripped the microphone outside the hospital doors. "This ain't just about my boy," he declared, his voice breaking halfway through. "This about a system that would rather silence him than protect him." His words were carried live on countless streams, igniting even more fire online. Some fans praised his courage, calling him a father fighting for his son's life. Others mocked him cruelly, claiming he was using his child's suffering for sympathy. The internet was split straight down the middle, with every post adding more gasoline to a fire that was already uncontrollable. Inside, tensions between family members reached a boiling point. Tiny's relatives, overwhelmed with grief, lashed out at Ty. One accused him in a trembling voice, "This is happening because of you, because of your past. You brought this curse on us." T snapped instantly, his rage spilling out like a volcano. "Don't you put that on me!" he shouted, his voice echoing through the hallway. "This ain't karma. This is murder." Tiny, sobbing uncontrollably, begged them to stop. But the shouting had already drawn a crowd of nurses, guards, and relatives. Phones recorded everything, and within hours, the heated exchange was plastered across every social media platform. The family wasn't just fighting grief anymore, they were fighting each other, all while the world watched. Fans were shocked, some defending Ty as a father under unbearable pressure, others painting him as unstable and reckless. The division spread beyond the hospital walls, infecting the entire narrative. What was once a private tragedy had become the internet's newest obsession. But the darkest blow came when whispers of King's test results surfaced online. Unverified reports claimed toxins had been discovered in his bloodstream, substances that didn't match his prescribed medications or injuries from the jailhouse attack. The possibility of poisoning sent shockwaves through the hospital and beyond. Hackers posted alleged hospital files, scrawled with chilling phrases like, "They're not saving him, they're finishing him." Whether real or fabricated, the effect was the same: chaos. As these rumors spread, security inside the hospital tightened even further. Guards checked every visitor, searched every bag, and monitored every staff member entering the ICU. Despite these efforts, suspicion only grew. One nurse anonymously admitted that King's ventilator had mysteriously shut down for several seconds in the dead of night. When staff rushed to review the footage, the files had vanished. Coincidence or cover-up? No one could say for sure. But online, fans didn't hesitate. The word cover-up spread like a virus, filling feeds and fueling even more outrage. Outside, the protests reached a boiling point. Demonstrators clashed with riot police as smoke filled the air. Chants of justice for King drowned out the sound of helicopter blades. Some fans lit candles and prayed, their voices breaking as they begged for a miracle. Others raised their fists and demanded accountability, accusing everyone from the prison system to the music industry of orchestrating the nightmare. Atlanta felt like a city on fire, burning with grief and rage in equal measure. Through it all, Tiny refused to leave her son's side. She clutched his hand so tightly that nurses had to pull her back at times to check his vitals. "Don't take my baby," she sobbed, her voice cracking, her body shaking. Ty, meanwhile, smashed a chair against the wall in frustration, screaming at doctors that they weren't doing enough. His fury terrified some staff, but to others, it was the raw expression of a father watching his son slip away. The drama only deepened when a new leak surfaced online. A muffled phone call, allegedly tied to a high-ranking prison official, delivered a line that froze fans around the world. "If the boy talks, everything collapses. He can't leave that bed alive." Whether true or not, the phrase spread across social media like a wildfire. Suddenly, the whispers weren't just about a targeted attack or family curse. Now, fans believed King Harris was sitting on a secret so explosive, powerful people were determined to silence him forever. Celebrities began chiming in, adding even more fuel to the storm. Cardi B went live in tears, pleading, "That baby don't deserve this. I don't care what y'all think about his daddy. Pray for King." Her words struck millions, flooding timelines with sympathy and support. Then Snoop Dogg added his own cryptic warning, saying, "The industry ain't what it seems. Protect your kids day after day." His statement left fans. The storm wasn't slowing down. It was only growing louder, darker, and more dangerous, dragging everyone into a drama with no clear end in sight. Dawn broke over Atlanta, but inside Grady Memorial there was no sense of mourning. The windows might as well have been walls of concrete because the family couldn't feel time anymore. Every hour blended into the next, each marked only by the rise and fall of machine alarms echoing through the ICU. King's fragile body lay motionless, and though his chest rose and fell with the help of machines, nurses whispered that his organs were starting to shut down one by one. Outside, the crowd had doubled overnight. What began as a small vigil had turned into a sea of people holding candles, banners, and phones raised to live stream every second. Justice for King and Protect King Harris were chanted in unison, echoing through the streets, as if the whole city had gathered to demand answers. Police in riot gear stood shoulder to shoulder at the hospital entrance, their shields glinting under flashing lights. Helicopters circled above, sweeping spotlights across the restless crowd. Fans were shocked to see their prayers turn into protests, but emotions had reached a boiling point, and grief had transformed into defiance. Inside, the atmosphere was just as tense. T had been up all night, pacing back and forth, his voice raw from shouting. He confronted the doctors again, slamming his fists against the wall. "Don't tell me to prepare for the worst," he barked. "Do your job. Save my son. Don't let him go." His outburst scared patients in nearby rooms, and security rushed in to calm him down. But nothing could silence a father's fury. Tiny, meanwhile, clung to King's hand, rocking back and forth, whispering, "Stay with me, baby. Don't leave me," over and over like a broken prayer. The family's suffering wasn't private for long. Another leak emerged, this time a recording of Tiny's breakdown outside the ICU. In the audio, her scream pierced the silence. "Don't take my baby. Don't take him from me." When the clip spread online, millions were left in tears. Fans flooded social media with messages of love, while critics mocked the family, claiming it was all for attention. The internet had become a cruel mirror, reflecting both compassion and cold judgment back at the grieving parents. And then came the darkest rumor yet. Unverified documents circulated claiming King's bloodstream contained traces of a mysterious substance, something not linked to his treatment. Whispers of poisoning spread like wildfire, sparking panic and conspiracy theories. Hackers released what they called hospital files, scrawled with chilling words. "They're not saving him, they're finishing him." Whether those files were real or fabricated didn't matter. The internet believed them, and the outrage multiplied. In the hospital, nurses grew more fearful. One nurse confided anonymously to a friend, "His ventilator shut off for a few seconds last night. The footage is gone, completely erased." When that claim hit social media, cover-up theories exploded. People demanded to know how a high-profile patient under round-the-clock watch could suffer mysterious failures with no explanation. The storm turned even wilder when a second video leak hit the internet. Grainy CCTV footage, allegedly from inside the ICU, showed two hooded figures sneaking into King's room at 2:47 a.m. One bent near his bed while the other stood guard at the door. Though the footage cut off before revealing more, its release was enough to send fans into hysteria. "They're sabotaging him," one user tweeted. "He's not safe even in the hospital." Others argued the footage was staged, but the damage was done. Once again, fear and suspicion drowned out reason. By midday, emotions in the hospital corridors boiled over. Tiny's relatives clashed with Ty again. One aunt pointed at him, trembling with fury. "This is because of you. The choices you made. The enemies you made. You dragged us all into this." Ty snapped back, his voice hoarse but furious. "Don't you dare blame me. This ain't about my past. This is planned. Someone's trying to kill my son." The shouting echoed through the walls, drawing reporters and fans who crowded the entrance, hoping to capture every second. Once more, the family's private pain was turned into viral spectacle. While the Harris family fractured, celebrities stepped in with their voices. Cardi B went live again, sobbing as she begged fans to pray for King. "That boy don't deserve this. I don't care what y'all think of his daddy. That's a baby fighting for his life." Her words touched millions, sparking another wave of prayers across timelines. Snoop Dogg added fuel to the fire with a cryptic post. "Protect your kids, day after day. The industry ain't what it looks like." Fans clung to those words like confirmation of their darkest suspicions. Atlanta itself was unraveling. By afternoon, protests outside the hospital turned violent. Riot police clashed with demonstrators. Tear gas clouded the air, and live streams showed chaos spreading across the streets. Some fans prayed with candles in hand, their tears falling to the pavement, while others screamed at officers, accusing them of hiding the truth. The city looked like a war zone, and at the center of it all was a teenager fighting for his life. Inside, the family's despair reached a breaking point. Ty punched another wall until his knuckles bled, shouting at doctors that they weren't telling him everything. Tiny nearly fainted, collapsing into the arms of her relatives, her cries echoing down the hall. "Don't take him! Please don't take him!" The scene was heartbreaking, raw, and all too public. Cameras caught glimpses of Ty's rage and Tiny's collapse, and once again the clips spread online, fueling endless debate. Was this a family on the verge of losing their son, or a spectacle too dramatic to be real? As the day bled into night, a new leak dropped like a bomb. A muffled phone call, allegedly tied to a prison official, carried the chilling words, "If the boy talks, everything collapses. He can't leave that bed alive." That single sentence froze millions in their tracks. Suddenly, this wasn't just about a beating or a medical crisis. Now fans believed King was holding a secret so dangerous, powerful forces wanted him silenced forever. The internet erupted with theories, pointing fingers at everyone from prison guards to government officials. Hashtags exploded once again, fueling a digital wildfire of speculation. Through it all, King Harris remained on the edge of life and death. His every breath a fragile fight against forces far bigger than him. His family's grief, his city's chaos, and the internet's obsession collided into one of the most surreal, tragic sagas hip-hop had ever witnessed. And as machines beeped and alarms screamed, one chilling truth hung heavy over Atlanta. The fight for King Harris was far from over. The night dragged on into a blur of flashing lights, sirens, and raw emotion that refused to fade. By the time midnight struck, the crowd outside Grady Memorial had grown into the thousands. Fans clutched candles, their flames flickering in the cold air, while outside chaos exploded. Protesters tried to storm the hospital entrance, clashing with riot police who fired tear gas into the crowd. Live streams captured every moment, fans choking on smoke, police pushing back, and chants of "Protect King" rising above the chaos. Atlanta looked less like a city and more like a battlefield. Yet amid the violence, small circles of fans knelt in prayer, their hands raised, tears streaming down their faces as they begged for a miracle. Inside, the family's grief reached unbearable heights. Tiny clutched King's hand so tightly her knuckles turned white, whispering, "Don't leave me, baby," as machines beeped erratically. Ty accused the hospital of hiding the truth, screaming at doctors that someone was sabotaging his son's recovery. One nurse, trembling, confided to another, "This isn't just medicine anymore. Something darker is happening here." Her words leaked hours later, igniting another wave of panic online. As the night stretched on, the internet split even deeper. Half the world believed King was the innocent victim of a dark conspiracy, a boy silenced because of secrets too dangerous to reveal. The other half claimed the Harris family was paying for sins of the past, trapped in a storm of their own making. Hashtags exploded, timelines flooded, and every new leak blurred the line between truth and rumor even further. Then, in the dead of night, another video surfaced. Grainy CCTV footage appeared online, allegedly showing two figures sneaking into the ICU once again. One bent near King's bed while the other stood guard, their faces hidden beneath hoods. The footage cut abruptly, leaving fans horrified at what might have happened next. "They're not just trying to hurt him," one fan tweeted. "They're making sure he never leaves that hospital." By morning, Atlanta was unrecognizable. Grady Memorial stood surrounded by police barricades. Helicopters roared overhead, and the crowd outside had swelled to thousands chanting in unison. Inside, doctors whispered the same soul-crushing words again, "Prepare for the worst." That phrase, once leaked, spread online instantly, sparking a tidal wave of panic. Prepare for King shot to the top of worldwide trends as millions clung to their screens, waiting for updates that never seemed to come. In the ICU, Ty and Tiny refused to leave their son's side. Ty's eyes were red, his hands trembling, his voice breaking as he muttered, "He's not gone. He's still here. We're not letting him go." Tiny pressed her forehead against King's, tears falling onto his cheeks as she whispered, "Mama's here. Don't leave me." Every beep from the machines was like a hammer striking their hearts. Every silence another step closer to the unthinkable. The city outside roared with chaos. The internet drowned in conspiracy, and the Harris family was trapped in a storm bigger than themselves. King Harris, a teenager who never asked for this war, had become the centerpiece of one of the darkest sagas hip-hop had ever witnessed. And as the sun rose over Atlanta, one truth remained. His fight was not just for survival. It had become a battle that shook an entire culture, leaving millions desperate for a miracle that seemed further away with every passing second. And so the story leaves us here, an entire city on edge, a family torn apart by grief, and a young life fighting against odds that feel impossible. The beeping of machines, the tears of a mother, the rage of a father. These aren't just headlines, they're the moments that have gripped millions and sparked one of the most dramatic sagas in recent memory. But the truth is, we don't know what's next. Every new leak, every whispered rumor, every viral clip only makes the mystery deeper and the pain sharper. Fans are shocked, emotions are running high, and the world is left asking the same question. Who is behind this, and how far will it go? Is this a tragic accident, a cruel twist of fate, or something much darker moving in the shadows? One thing is undeniable. King Harris's fight in that ICU has shaken the culture to its core, leaving a story no one can look away from. But now, it's your turn to weigh in. Do you believe the rumors of sabotage and cover-ups? Or do you think this is just the internet running wild with speculation? Was King targeted, or is this all coincidence? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because we want to hear from you. And if you're following this story as closely as the rest of the world, make sure you hit that like button to show your support. Subscribe for every new update, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next twist in this saga. This is more than just news. It's a fight for truth, for survival, and for justice. Stay tuned, because this story is far from over.